Enough talk, I gotta get to work. Deb already started my shells for me, my pasta shells. So we've got about a box of shells that I've got in some boiling water. I want to salt the water though, because that's so important when it comes to, seasoning your pasta. That's really the only chance you have to do that. Now I've got some ground beef that I've got in a big old skillet. And I'm going to use my chop and stir to really get in there. This is, you've probably had the Italian version of stuffed shells. Usually it's got ricotta cheese and sausage or ground beef and then spaghetti sauce. Well, this is kind of a same type of thing, but we're going to give it a Mexican twist. Really, really delicious too. And I think the kids will even like this. If they like tacos, they're going to love this. This gadget, one of you guys turned me on to it a while back, and I just happen to love it because sometimes when you're browning ground beef or ground pork, thank you, Deb. I want to have a boil over there. It's hard to get it, unchunky. Sometimes you've got really big chunks of ground beef. I don't want that, especially for this recipe. So this is where this chop and stir really comes in handy. Works great mashing potatoes too. And it's nice because you can use it in non-stick pans. Okay, so that ground beef, it's doing its thing. Just gonna let that hang out a little bit and cook. How are my pasta shells doing? I don't want to overcook my pasta shells. I think that's so important when it comes to doing any kind of a casserole with pasta in it. Always undercook the pasta. What happens if you overcook the pasta is you get a mushy casserole, and that is no good. I don't like a mushy, dry casserole. Remember that when you're going to be cooking any kind of casserole with pasta, you're cooking your pasta not only once, but you're cooking it again when you bake in the oven, and it really tends to suck up all the liquid and can get really, those noodles can get mushy. So keep that in mind whenever you're, doing pasta or potatoes or even rice in a casserole dish. Don't overcook it. All right, I've got a nice, pretty red casserole dish. Isn't that nice? Pick that up at Cook's Corner. Thought that would go nice with our Mexican fiesta. You can bring it right to the table right in this, and that's what I love about this. That's why I say a lot of my casseroles are even company worthy. So this is great, blend up a pitcher of margaritas, get some guacamole to get the party started, some poppers, some shrimp ceviche. Bring this out as the main course, and when's the party? I'm coming. All right, so I'm going to start with some store-bought salsa. This is a 16-ounce jar that I'm just going to mild, medium, hot, whatever your family likes. Whenever I'm doing it for guests, I like to do mild, and I can always serve spicy or hot sauce on the side to spice things up. But, if the kids are going to be coming, I'd use mild. Today, we're going to get a little crazy. We're doing medium. That's all we had, so we're going to go with the medium. Feeling festive today. So a little bit of that salsa goes down on the bottom, just like you would do lasagna. And I'm telling you, this is one of those casseroles you can really whip together in no time. Quick and easy. And park it in your fridge right before company's ready to come over and eat. Okay, I'm going to season up this ground beef. And if there was any grease to drain from that burger, go ahead and do that now. But this looks so lean. More and more, the sausage and the burger ground beef I'm getting, it's been so nice and lean that you don't even have to drain it. So you do a great job over at Festival. Ground that beef nice and fresh, nice and lean. Okay, so I'm adding my taco seasoning, a little bit of water, and the next thing I'm going to add is, as soon as this gets done, we're almost there, a little bit of cream cheese. So kind of like I said, this is a takeoff on the Italian stuffed shells that you're probably used to, that sometimes have a little bit of ricotta cheese in them. We're going to use cream cheese instead, which really works nice in this dish. And by the way, if you have any good Mexican or fiesta recipes, please let me know about them. Don't keep them a secret. I'm always looking for new, fun recipes. Okay. Ground beef looks good. How's my pasta doing? Almost. I'm going to get my cream cheese in here. And what's going to happen is that's going to melt with that ground beef and really become yummy. Let's talk a little bit about parties and entertaining. I think it is so fun if you've got a theme, like a Mexican theme, because then you can just roll with it and, go crazy with it. In fact, we had a Mexican fiesta a few years ago, and it was just a blast. Everyone can come casual. You can certainly do Mexican dress, crank on the Mexican music. Even, there's some great Mexican musicians around town you could rent if you really wanted to. But I love theme parties because they just make it easier. You know what the menu can be. You can just kind of play around with some great Mexican food. You can, have fun with the decorations. So I really love the idea of themes. And so that's what today's show is all about. We've got some fun decorations and ideas. Perfect for your fiesta. Okay, this looks great. I'm going to take it off the heat and get that cream cheese all combined and see how it's starting to melt. I want that ground beef to cool just a little bit so I can work with it a little easier. I want to drain the pasta shells and start putting this whole Mexican stuffed shell casserole together. I spent a lot of time growing up in Arizona, and Mexican fiestas, well, Cinco de Mayo and Mexican fiestas are just a huge deal in Arizona. In fact, even over the holidays, during Christmas, people really do a lot of Mexican-themed parties during the holidays. And so, they do the lanterns with the candles and tamales and things like that. So I kind of grew up with Mexican fiestas. My grandmother was always having Mexican fiestas, so they're just really fun. Piñata and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so just going to use a spoon because I really think that's the best tool for the job, and get some of this ground beef mixture with the taco seasoning and the cream cheese, which just really makes it over the top and wonderful, right on top of this salsa. Now at home, maybe let the noodles and the meat cool just a little bit, but I'm used to cooking a lot, so my hands are pretty tough. There you go, just start filling these shells. And let me tell you, this is a pretty quick bake once you do get it in the oven. That's what's nice about this, that you can have it completely made ahead of time and then, bake this off right out of the refrigerator. It's not going to take that long. Everything's really all cooked. And Deb was kind enough to go ahead and pre-stuff a bunch of shells for me, so thank you very much for that, Deb.
Sure, welcome.
So you don't have to sit here and watch me stuff all these shells. You get the idea. Is that what they're called, Ann? What are they called? Farolitos. Well, I'm not going to pronounce farolitos. Or luminaries, too, I've heard of it. Luminaries, okay. Yeah, that is quite a tradition down in New Mexico, Arizona, parts of California, is instead of decorating with Christmas lights or along with decorating with Christmas lights, the luminaries, the candles and the paper bags, that's something that I grew up with, and it is so beautiful. And if anyone's having a Mexican-themed party, especially during the holidays, they line their driveway and their sidewalk with dozens and dozens of these bags with the candles that are glowing in there, and they put a little sand usually in the bottom of the bag, and it's just beautiful. Really, really pretty. Anybody ever seen that before? Email me or Facebook me about that if you have. It's just a neat tradition. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little bit more salsa over the top of these shells. Again, hot, medium, mild, whatever you fancy. That's right, Ann worked a while in New Mexico, so I want to borrow that cookbook again, Ann. Good stuff. Okay, now we're going to throw some cheese down over the top. I've got some shredded cheddar and some shredded Monterey Jack, just a combination of the two. You know me, I don't think I've ever met a casserole that didn't like cheese. I can't think of one of my casseroles that doesn't, well, my French toast casseroles. Okay, I thought of one. I don't think cheese would be, well, cream cheese. There is cream cheese in some of my French toast casseroles. I stand corrected. So a little bit of Monterey Jack. Again, if you wanted spicy, shredded pepper jack cheese would be really kind of nice. And then I also like a little crunch on my casseroles. You probably know that if you watch the show too. So I'm always thinking of different fun crunchies because we fight over the top of the casseroles at my house. No, we don't really fight. I usually win. I take the first serving. But anyway, it's those crunchies, I think, on top of a lot of my casseroles that just, or any casseroles that just make them so special. So, you know, I top my casseroles from everything from potato chips to croutons to panko breadcrumbs, pretzels, and tortilla chips are really fun. So I thought a little bit of crunch on top of these shells, a little bit of crushed tortilla chips, and you know what? You don't have to, you know, take new ones like I'm doing and crush them up. Just the bottoms of those bags. Once you get down to the bottom of the bags of taco chips, you know how you have all those crushed chips? Don't throw them out. They're perfect on top of your Mexican casseroles. So a little bit of chips, just for that little bit of crunch. We don't need a whole ton. Into the oven this goes. As I said, pretty quick bake. If you're taking it out of the fridge, remember it's always going to take a little bit longer to bake. But I'd say this is what, half hour or so at 350? Just check on it until everything's ooey gooey, bubbly, and wonderful. How good does that look? Look at that. And then, you know, whenever you're serving Mexican food, it's all about the fun topping. So let's do a little bit of sour cream. I don't think I've ever met Mexican food that didn't like sour cream. I'm a huge sour cream person. Maybe some black olives. A few of those. If you don't like black olives, leave them out, but I happen to love them. And saying, oh, there goes my Mexican stuffed shells. And then a little scallions are nice too. But it's up to you, whatever your family loves. There you go. Recipes on our website. You can also pick it up at any Festival Foods. This is a perfect one for a fiesta, or just a weeknight that you want to turn into a fiesta.